Tension mounts both at LOC and the LAC. Army chief warns of increasing China-Pakistan collusion.
There is no doubt that Pakistan and China together form a very potent threat, and there is an aspect of collusivity which cannot be wished away.
How prepared is India for conflict on two fronts? Will China and Pakistan strike in tandem? That's our top focus on India First.
How potent is this threat of China and Pakistan coming together to attack India? How real is this threat and how prepared are we? We discussed that on the broadcast, but today it's not just the Chief of the Army Staff who's exposed this collusion between China and Pakistan. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has just done it at the United Nations Security Council when he actually called for zero tolerance for terror and for the world to walk the talk for zero tolerance to terror. I'll come to that story. Action-packed, 60 minutes. As always, let's get started. You had the Chief of the Army Staff, General Manoj Mukund Narvane, talking about the twin threats that India faces on our northern and our eastern borders when he spoke of collusion between Pakistan and China. We'll talk about this in greater detail. The question remains, if a country like China needs Pakistan's help to checkmate India or to counter India, what kind of a world power does China actually aspire to be? The question remains, how potent is the threat, how real is the challenge, and how prepared are we?
The Indian Army is preparing for the new normal to thwart Pakistan and China at the same time. All through the ongoing LAC face-off with China, Pakistan has been needling with firing along the LOC. Army Chief General M.M. Naravane said the two-front problem was being addressed.
There is no doubt that Pakistan and China together form a very potent threat, and there is an aspect of collusivity which cannot be wished away, and that is also very much part of our strategic planning and calculus when we are formulating our plan.
The armed forces are aware of the need for a new approach to deal with the twin threat.
हम किसी भी कन्वेंशनल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट के लिए और किसी भी तरह के कॉन्फ्लिक्ट के लिए फुल्ली प्रिपेयर्ड है, एंड उसमें टू फ्रंट वॉर भी इंक्लूडेड है. हमारी हमेशा ये फोकस रहता है कि हमारी ऑपरेशनल कैपेबिलिटी करंट थ्रेट सिनेरियो के अगेंस्ट बिल्डअप की जाए, अगेंस्ट प्रिपेयर्ड रहे, एंड हमारी कैपेबिलिटी पूरी तरह से तैयार है टू फ्रंट वॉर के लिए भी.
Ever since the aggression by the Chinese along the LAC, the army has been regularly reassessing the force requirements.
As far as the situation in eastern Ladakh is concerned, in the areas which were just mentioned, the situation is the same as was prevailing last year. There has been no change in the status quo. Based on the principle of mutual and equal security, we would be able to reach an agreement which would result in disengagement and de-escalation.
Even after 8 months, there has been no reduction of Chinese deployment in friction areas, though there has been some withdrawal in the depth areas.
Those training areas have been vacated, and since those training areas have been vacated, it would be fair to assume that those troops who had come, who were in the depth areas on the Tibetan plateau, have gone back to their garrisons.
China had first movers advantage in early May when the standoff started. But Indian Army retaliated in August when it took over heights on the southern bank of the Pangong Lake. The India and China standoff has entered the 9th month, and chances of the deadlock ending appear slim. 8 rounds of Corps Commander level talks have failed to get the Chinese army to retreat.
There might be a calm at the line of actual control in Ladakh, but that doesn't mean that tensions have eased between India and China. And that's the reason why the Indian army is ready to grind it out both at the line of actual control and at the line of control. The army chief made it very clear that new strategies are being devised to take care and combat the potent threat both from Pakistan and China in years to come. With camera person Vinod, Abhishek Bhalla in New Delhi for India Today.
So if in the month of April, May or June, if China expected that India will roll over, play dead and let China walk all over Indian territory, China has been rudely shocked, shaken, and this setback for China is actually victory for India in a very major way. Does this indicate that China will try something either now or in the coming months? And will China need Pakistan's help to counter India? Let me bring in the finest voices on matters military and diplomacy joining me on the broadcast. Lieutenant General Syed Ata Hasnain, he is the former Srinagar Corps commander. Lieutenant General Rakesh Sharma is former Ladakh Corps commander. Also with me is Ambassador G. Parthasarathy. He is former Indian High Commissioner to Pakistan and someone who's dealt with China in the Prime Minister's office in the 1980s. But let me begin by asking you, General Sharma, in your appreciation, how real is the threat of China and Pakistan colluding to counter India, either in Ladakh or in Jammu and Kashmir?
Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you for inviting me. The chief has been categoric and said there is a potent threat. Now, we've been speaking for quite some time, saying that the Gilgit-Baltistan and the areas of POK, the Chinese are in a very big way. Now, the BRI and CPEC has been spoken often. It is part of the geopolitical ambitions of President Xi, and the amount of prospecting being done by the Chinese in the areas of Gilgit-Baltistan from Ganche to Gizar to Hunza is tremendous, including uranium they're taking out. So they are on either side of that bulge that we have. One side towards Siachen Glacier, the other side of eastern Ladakh. So the Chinese are on both sides. They are actually based inside Pakistan in large measure. So all supervisors, all workers there are actually ex-PLA people working in these areas. So the threat is actually potent and it exists in both sides. And naturally, as the air chief had said, and today the army chief also said, it's a potent threat. We ought to be prepared. We've been preparing for this for the last 10 years. And of course, the preparations will continue. But we are already geared to this end.
Okay. Now, if for the past 9 months, General Hasnain, if we've been able to perhaps checkmate China or ensure that China does not move forward or remains here, what does this indicate about the strengths of the two armies, and would China actually need Pakistan's help to put India on a sticky wicket, sir?
Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you again for inviting me. And let me start by, first of all, endorsing everything that General Sharma has just said. He knows that area extremely well. He's been reading the situation just like most of us have been doing. But let me assess also for you, Gilgit-Baltistan is a happening place and in geopolitics in the last couple of years, particularly because of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, the BRI, and also in the Indian declared intent of integrating the remaining areas of Jammu and Kashmir, which are not under our control at the moment. Obviously, this has sent messages across where China probably feels a little perturbed about the very rapidly rising strategic confidence of India to be stating all this, declaring it upfront. My reading of the situation has all along been that their intention in April, May, what they did in 2020, was primarily coercion against us, warning us, cautioning us, sending messages. They were trying to take the assistance of Pakistan simultaneously because they were not committing the full strength of troops that they can actually commit. I feel at the end of it, what the chief has said is absolutely right. That's the worst case scenario, a collusive effort between the two powers themselves. For a change, you find the situation a little different, where you find China actually requiring the assistance of Pakistan, because perhaps it does not want to go whole hog at the moment. It wants to create a situation in Jammu and Kashmir on the Ladakh front, primarily to create a level of caution to India, not to go beyond a level as far as its strategic posturing is concerned. So from that angle, I do feel at the end of the day, they will need many more troops, and I'm sure General Sharma will agree with me, they will need many more troops if they want to do campaign-style offensives into Ladakh, into POK, into Gilgit-Baltistan and places like that, because without that, I don't think they can make much of a success in those areas.
But it reflects rather poorly on China, Ambassador Parthasarathy, in case China needs Pakistan's help to come. China aspires to be a global power by 2050 to take on the United States of America, but to send a message to India, it requires Pakistan's help. Or in your appreciation, is that very strong message to the Narendra Modi government, do not try anything in Gilgit-Baltistan and the rest of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, sir?
Look, Pakistan is China's instrument for low-cost containment of India. That is the strategic aim, to use Pakistan for low-cost containment of India. One, terrorism, China looks the other way. Two, it backs the Pakistanis in the Security Council and various other forums on terrorism. And this any talk from Pakistan about dealing with their terrorists, let me give you one case. Man responsible largely for the Mumbai attack was Zakir Rahman Lakhvi. Very seriously, Pakistan told us that he has been put in the Adiala jail. What happens? Rather than he's being kept under rigorous imprisonment, he is given conjugal rights. His wife visits him when he produces a baby in jail, when in jail for terrorism. That is the seriousness with which Pakistan addresses this. The larger low-cost containment of China will continue. This is a fact of life. Don't forget, as I said also, that all Pakistan's nuclear weapons and its reprocessing facilities in Kushab and so on, they're all Chinese provided. Pakistan's missile program, from the Shaheen 1 to the Shaheen 3, are all Chinese variants of DF-3 to DF-21.
So effectively, Pakistan is a Chinese client state. That message taken, General Sharma. But if we were to look at realistic scenarios in the times to come, over the next several months, what will Pakistan do in case China wants to put more pressure on India? Do you see more artillery duels at the LOC? Do you see more terror attacks from Pakistan as India tries to counter the Chinese aggression at the LAC? Or do you see the balloon going up in a limited way, whether in the Daulat Beg Oldie, Depsang area, or at the Siachen Glacier, or in Kargil, or in Jammu and Kashmir, sir?
Okay, it's very difficult to be a futurologist in these matters. Nobody could have predicted beginning of last year that events would take place in Eastern Ladakh the way it did. But you see, last week the foreign minister of China spoke to all our neighbor foreign ministers, the second meeting of this kind. The pressure is being built across on us in many forums. When he spoke last week with Afghanistan, Pakistan, with Nepal, with Bangladesh, and with Sri Lanka. And second talk of this kind, there is pressure being built. Now, one cannot say whether the Chinese will venture something in the summer months, continuing in April onwards, or the Pakistanis will do something. But the fact of the matter is that having an all-out war of any kind is not suiting China presently, and it certainly doesn't suit Pakistan. Pakistan is no entity at this juncture to take on a war. But we have to be prepared. Now, see, it happens in like this, that it may not be war, but it could be needle pricking. They could be posing some problem somewhere or the other. So we got to be prepared of this end. I do not anticipate a full-fledged war.
What do these pinpricks mean? What do pinpricks mean? Before I come to General Hasnain, if you could elaborate, does this mean terror attacks? Does this mean artillery? Does this mean bad action by Pakistan at the LOC? would that be seen as escalation, or that's been continuing along the LOC for the past several years now?
I think, I feel the LOC will remain hot as the LOC has remained hot for quite some time in this manner, but whether it is bat actions or it is artillery fire or any one of these operations that are regularly carried out, which we will respond in much better manner than as we have been doing. On the Chinese side, they talk about these 10,000 people having been withdrawn back. I think that's not an important issue whatsoever, because he's not withdrawn anything from opposite Eastern Ladakh, the divisions that were there. And part of Eastern Ladakh is actually Xinjiang district, not even Tibet. Saichen is in Xinjiang district. The forces came from Xinjiang. Those people have not withdrawn at all. So the Chinese are based as it is in that area. We got to be prepared where Chinese could do something. I think the posture that we have adopted on the borders, and a chief pointed out in response to one of the questions being asked by correspondent, said that we are prepared not only in Eastern Ladakh, but all along the front. And that implies that we have postured us in a manner to say that even if Chinese try anything on the border, we will be prepared to do a defensive action as also something additional that we are prepared already to do so.
In fact, that's the question I was coming to, General Hasnain. It's not just in Ladakh, but there's Sikkim, there's Barahoti in the middle sector, there's Arunachal Pradesh. Are we already spending a lot of money, resources, wear and tear without war? And could this also be a part of the Chinese game plan? Or is China bleeding as much? And this withdrawal of 10,000 troops, is it just deception or real in terms of Chinese troops being unable to take these hardships?
Thank you, Gaurav. We've got a series of questions here. Let me try and answer all of them for you. Firstly, I start by agreeing with what General Sharma said. The possibility of hot war, all-out war, is extremely remote. It is not in the interest of China at this moment. Pakistan is in no position to pursue that kind of a strategy against us. But having said that, out of all the options that you stated, I would select two of them. Number one, to make sure that Pakistan will make every effort to keep Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir as active as possible. That could be on the LOC, but more intently inside, in the hinterland. Pakistan of late has lost the capability to calibrate operations inside the Jammu and Kashmir hinterland. This is something that they will want to regain, because it is through that maximum commitment of troops takes place. That's number one. Number two, as far as the LAC is concerned, in Ladakh, I go along with General Sharma. The possibility of a couple of friction points where once in a while something hotting up to keep the intent and the gaze and the focus in those areas, that will continue. While looking at the entire northern borders, I'm not sure whether the Chinese are up to activating all the borders. We are taking precautions. But I would go to the extent that actually the Chinese are not meeting their aim for the simple reason that they have actually got us triggered, instigated into a higher degree of preparation. Modernization of the army, a better infrastructure, better equipment, probably upping the whole aspect of maritime security, the aspect of restructuring. Yes. We're already finding a lot of issues being discussed about creation of additional resources, dissuasive resources for the northern borders. All this would not have taken place under normal circumstances. I think the Chinese, by coming in last year, have made sure that we have hurried up on all this. We have ensured that our overall defensive and dissuasive capability is of a much higher order today.
Okay. With India now being at the United Nations Security Council as a non-permanent member, Ambassador Parthasarathy, is that advantage India diplomatically in any which way? Can China try something when the world attention is diverted either by COVID or what's happening in the United States of America?
Well, let's be very clear. China does see the Americans severely weakened, which they are. That's a reality we have to recognize. But China is rattled by the Quad. Let's have no doubts. If you read any Chinese magazine, they are rattled by the Quad. Now, I told you, Pakistan is an instrument of China for low-cost containment of India. You will get pinpricks.
Yes.
Moreover, I see already Pakistan has handed over Shaksgam Valley totally, which is Indian territory. They are almost making Gilgit-Baltistan a colony of China, whereby the Chinese will be deployed, as the general said, not just in economic but also in military terms. So this is a process of attrition. And just remember what happened in Sundarongchu. 1.5 years of tough holding each other, which General Sundarji handled brilliantly. And thereafter, politically, you ease off. But here again, they are going to continue pressure, low-cost containment, another division somewhere in Ladakh, some pressures through Pakistan, equipping Gilgit-Baltistan in a way where their military is well deployed. These are the pressures which are going to come. Because let's face it, one thing.
Okay.
What happened in Galwan this year is something which China cannot help taking notice of. It's the first time we held them, not only back, but we put them on alert by what we did in north of the.
Oh, absolutely. In southern Pangong, subsequently. But that's the point I was coming to, General Sharma. Last comments, I have last 30 seconds on the broadcast. When we went on the 29th and 30th of August in southern Pangong Tso, we had China on the defensive. Is there something that India can afford to do without escalating this and the situation spiraling out of control, to tell China that they don't hold all aces?
Look, we would have some more aces up our sleeve, but all this doesn't have to be said on this forum here. And we should unveil the aces if they are required at a particular time. To say that our aces are finished or not right. We have plans. We would have plans, and I think we'll be prepared to take it on when the event arises.
Okay, of course, there's so much more that we'd like to talk about on this issue, especially with China building up in a very big way, even in the Chumbi Valley area and in Arunachal Pradesh. But we will have to leave that for another day. General Hasnain, General Sharma, and Ambassador Partha Sarthi, as always, enlightening to have you on the broadcast and actually tell us so much more about what's happening along the line of actual control and how it should be interpreted. I need to slip into a quick break here.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.